Great rendition of our national anthem right there, guys. I see the lightning meters are out down here towards the east where you guys cannot see. Has been, or excuse me, to the north has been a tremendous amount of showers. I see Chad Barber, athletic director, making his way up to the press box. So it would not surprise me here if we were going to be under a delay. And how many years in a row, guys, is this? It seems like a recurring theme for us. Is that it's a home opener somewhere, and we're going to get in a lightning delay.
Well, you're right, Bill. It seems like, a couple of years now we've done this. And Chad Barber is up here. And I think they are going to announce that there will be a lightning delay here.
All right, so you can kind of hear. I got you, Coach. You got a minute? Last year we talked earlier. This week you lost to North Davidson, but you practiced hard. What's the outlook for the Scots this year?
I mean, we feel like we got a good nucleus return, and we only got really 4 starters back on offense and defense, but we had a very successful JV team and went undefeated, and we have a very good junior class. So, obviously around Scotland it's state championship or bust. So, I mean, I feel like we got a chance at that, and obviously if you're included in that, at least in that possibility, you got a pretty good football team, and I feel like we do.
All right, Coach, we know you're getting your team to the inside, so we'll let him go as Richard Bailey and everybody will clear the stands. I'm not sure if they're going to make us clear the press box or not. We will stay out here just as long as we can, broadcasting for you folks. Steve, we didn't really have a chance to talk about maybe some of the things that we've done as the Mid-South Sports Network in our 39-week break this year. I mean, we've had a 39 weeks that we haven't done a game, and I know, Charles, we want to offer our condolences to you. Your sister passed on Wednesday, and our deepest apologies to our condolences to you and the entire Kuntz family on her passing.
Bill, thank you very much. And you're right. We lost Marilyn on Wednesday following a long and hard medical battle on her part. But, Bill, just moments before we came on the air tonight, to your back was one of the really pretty rainbows. So maybe that was symbolic that, she's smiling down on us, even though, we're sad, but the funeral service is Monday, so we've got a long weekend to get through, but we'll be there.
And I know that in the McMillan family, we've had a tough off-season for us with the passing of my wife's father, Joe Peel, who's been so good to the Mid-South Sports crew. Died suddenly of a heart attack in March. He helped us out tremendously at a number of venues with his ingenuity, putting together stands for us to be able to broadcast in places that otherwise we would not. So,
well, Billy Mack, he really made us look good, particularly when we went to Garner on back-to-back years and had a chance to broadcast the Eastern Championship game. And, people really were envious of the fact that while we were not in the press box, we had our own press box on the Jack Britt side. And, the Jack Britt fans just garnered us in, pardon the pun. But we were like family there, and we raised the Buccaneer flag. And, we had a great time, and it's all because of your father-in-law.
We're going to miss him a lot. As the fans are making their way out of the stadium now, it almost seems like the Zika virus is here, and they're going to be playing a game in front of no fans. I know we've all been following the Olympics, and congratulations to all the U.S. Athletes who have been participating and representing the red, white, and blue. We appreciate that. But folks, we're glad you tuned in here tonight, whether you're watching the Olympics and listening to us, or you're watching us. I see David up there on the camera now. David is with us up here tonight on the camera. I'm assuming that the live stream is working. I know that I'm getting a head shake. Yes, I hear it rattle. I know we had some problems, so something new that we've added this year that we wanted to enhance what we do. We've been the leader in broadcasting high school sports for a number of years, and the opportunity came to add video, so we appreciate everybody who's watching us tonight. So whether you're on a tablet, whether you're on your phone, whether you're on your computer, if you got a smart TV at home, you can watch us, you can listen to us. I mean, you see how good I look. You still can't see how good you guys look, but we're going to work on that. Ray, we know you had a big summer because you had a graduate and then a move. So somebody's come off the payroll.
Yeah, actually, we're glad to kick one out of the nest, Billy Mack. Jonathan, who's actually been up here and helped us in the booth a couple of times over the years with some stats, graduated. So a few less trips down to Columbia to see the Gamecocks play probably this year. But Jonathan, as every dad is thankful to say, was hired, which surprised his mom and me that somebody would actually hire him, but hired by the Vanguard Investment Group and moved to Charlotte and has started off doing well down there. So very proud of one. Got one out of the nest. The other one still got a little school to go.
Billy Mack,
right.
if you don't, Billy Mack, Charles.
Go ahead, Charles.
Let me jump back in and reconnect with your thoughts about the Olympics. Ray was sharing with us sort of a highlight a moment that he had this summer, or really this week, from a previous position he had as an athletic director that related to the Olympics. I'd like for him to tell us.
Well, thank you, Charles, for that intro. Yeah, actually, when I was the athletic director at Forsyth Country Day up in Winston-Salem, we had a young girl on the swim team up there. I know your wife, Mandy, is big in the swimming scene, Billy Mack. A girl named Kathleen Baker. Her dad was actually an administrator at the school with me for 12 years, and I told the guys in the car on the way over, I've known Kathleen since she was 3 years old, but Kathleen grew up a star swimmer, and she swims with the SwimMac group out of Charlotte. And as a student, just finished her freshman year or about to start her sophomore year at Cal. But anyway, Kathleen made the Olympic team this year by swimming her best time ever in the 100 backstroke, went on down to Rio, and then went ahead and won herself a silver medal in the 100 back. And because of that finish, got a place on the 4x100 relay team that was publicized pretty heavily for winning the U.S.'s 1,000th gold medal ever. So Kathleen was back in Winston-Salem as of Wednesday and visited the old school up there, and my niece and nephew are students at the school and got to visit her. And it's not often you get to spend the afternoon with an Olympic champion, a gold medal, and a silver medal, but lots of pictures, lots of photos, and very, very proud of Kathleen Baker. And there's no truth to the rumor that those medals were a result of the great athletic directorship during her time at Forsyth Country Day.
I think you need to take all the credit in the world, Ray. I wouldn't turn that away at all. As the guys, we have just had another bolt of lightning off over here to my right, your left. Down here talking with the folks who were in charge. That's an additional 30 minutes from right now. So at 7 o'clock, we would be kicking off. But that's going to be an additional 30 minutes. And guys, it's getting ready to rain. So I don't know if we want to bring the equipment in from outdoors. I'm going to kick it up to you guys while I go listen to the Brain Trust right here, Steve.
Okay, Bill, thanks a lot. Yep, we look back to the northeast, Charles, and there's certainly a lot darker because as we look out, over the stadium, all I see, some big fluffy clouds and the threat of rain. So I just got from Renee back at the station that the Pine Forest and the 71st game, they too have been delayed until 7:30, and I would guess with this rain coming in and it's scattered all over the place that we'll probably see, Charles, other delays.
I'm sure it will be. And, Billy Mack popped a question to you a while ago about are the Tiger fans hungry? The fact that they have not won a state championship in recent memory. A lot of the folks here, particularly the players, are not old enough to remember, but there was a short span of time back in the early 1900s where they were maybe the only school in North Carolina. They can certainly claim being only one of a few schools in North Carolina that they won almost back-to-back a football state championship, a basketball state championship, a baseball championship, and a girls softball championship. And I'm talking about Bobby Poss leading the Tigers in 1991 and Randy Ledford with the baseball program, Ron Miller with the basketball program, and Eddie Dees, who they just paid tribute to with the ladies softball. So, yeah, there was a time here in the early 90s that I guess you could say state championships was sort of the norm for the Tigers of Southview.
And, not to say that spoiled the folks here in Hope Mills, but, they came to a certain expectation, just like Richard Bailey, as he was talking to Bill as he was exiting the field, he said, the people in Scotland County have come to expect us playing for state championships. And in the early on, with your brother, Calvin Kuntz, and, some of the other great coaches that they've had out here at Southview, they've been able to, do that, have those opportunities where if they weren't playing for state championships, they were certainly contenders.
Well, over the years, we have certainly seen the football fortunes swing from school to school. And while we speak of Southview, let's just stay for a moment. And we remember in those years of undefeated seasons, you had to come early to get a seat. The same thing at Douglasburg when Bob Paroli had the Eagles fly high. At Terry Sanford when the Bulldogs were contending in 81 and 83.
Yeah, under Lynn Manus.
Yeah, for state championship. And then as Billy Mack paid tribute to Richard Bailey at Jack Britt, you went early when Richard Bailey had that program in high gear.
Well,
and guys, let me jump in real quick here. For those of you who are watching, we did just have to turn the cameras off. They have asked us to vacate the top of the press box, so I'm sure Mark, our producer here tonight, Mark and Mandy are producing the game for Pac Power Media, have some cool video that they're showing because I saw it today. It's looking really good. So we will be back on it. We did just have another lightning strike over here, so it's going to be an additional 30 minutes. Now there is a running clock down here, so every time that they see lightning and hear thunder, they reset their timer.
to make a change. And so this is something that's obviously been part of the process of the NCHSA for as long as I've been covering high school athletics. Some realignments have been very bumpy, some have been fairly smooth. There's always challenges every year with trying to keep schools happy with the geography, with natural rivals, a variety of complications. And so it's just a real test every year for the state to try to come up with a realignment that works. And basically the best thing they can accomplish is one where they antagonize as few people as possible, and that's really about the best, the closest they can come to a win.
And next year, first I can remember split conference in Cumberland County, where you're going to have 4A and 3A schools in one conference, so 9 out of the 11 schools, everybody but Jack Britt and 71st will be in one conference. As you've talked to other newspaper folks and other reporters around the state, what is the feeling for them on split conferences and how it works within their geographic region?
Well, actually, I've talked more with athletic directors about it, and because they're more hands-on and have to deal day to day with the challenges. Split conferences, again, is a word I've already used, are kind of a necessary evil. The main reason that we see split conferences is when you have a shortfall of a particular classification of schools in an area, and what you have to do is mix classifications. 4A, 3A is what we're going to be doing, mainly to preserve a lot of natural rivalries and also to keep things reasonably geographically tight so that you're not having to drive great distances. You want to save on travel expenses. You also want to protect the school day because you have to realize a lot of people look at realignment and think it's a football-only thing, but it's not. You've got to realize that you've got sports that play twice a week and play games midweek, and you don't want kids, getting on a bus, driving, 2-3 hours away, playing a ball game, and getting back, midnight or later on a consistent basis when they have a road game. So that's one of the main reasons that you have to go with split conferences, is to try to keep the geography and the natural rivalries intact, and there's really not much of a way around it in certain parts of the state.
So we talked about a split conference, and you and I and Charles and Dave, and who's at the beach right now in a Speedo from what I hear, Ray and Steve all know what that is. Explain to us what a split conference is and how that's going to impact Cumberland County next year.
Well, the biggest thing is it affects the number of teams that qualify for the playoffs. It changes the whole dynamic of how you qualify for the playoffs, because you can qualify for the playoffs without obviously winning the conference, and you can have a high seed in one classification and a high seed in another classification. There's a lot of a learning curve that we're going to have to get used to down here, and this is one of the things that I've heard from athletic directors and conferences that have dealt with it over the years. You just have to kind of adjust to it and realize that this is one of the fallbacks of it, but it's still a whole lot better than being in a situation where you're driving halfway to Charlotte or something like that to play regular season games.
So when we talk about a split conference next year, you're going to have the 3A schools, which are going to be E.E. Smith, Terry Sanford, and help me, Earl, if I miss one, Grays Creek, Douglas Byrd. The 4A schools are going to be Pine Forest, Southview. Help me out here, Earl.
I think you left Cape Fear out of them.
Cape Fear out.
Dropping down to one of the 3A schools.
That's exactly right. And so you're going to have 3 4A schools and 6 3A schools in one conference. But then they all, if my memory serves me correctly, the Athletic Association is also changing the way the top seeds or the automatic qualifieds are seeded, where only the 1 seed is guaranteed to be a 1 seed, and after that it's really based on record. Is that correct?
That's correct, and this is something that I've argued for years, and I'm glad to see that they're finally doing that. I've always thought that they gave too much seeding weight to teams in weaker conferences that finished second or third and got a higher seed simply because the placement in their conference, and not because of their one-loss record, because you automatically took the 2s and 3s out and seeded them ahead of everybody else. Now we're only going to take the 1s out. We're going to seed them the first 7, 8, whatever in each classification, and then everybody else is just one big mass based entirely on your overall record. And I'm delighted to see that, and I think that's going to be a real plus.
And I I agree as well. And as we continue down on an extended version of the Harold's Automotive pregame show, we are starting to see some activity down here at the, what would I guess be the north end of the stadium. I see coaches there huddling around with Athletic Director Chad Barber, Principal Brian Edkins, the folks with the lightning meters. So it looks like there's some activity. I think we're just a few minutes away from that magical 30-minute mark. But Earl, as we continue to talk about realignment, two other schools, 71st and Jack Britt, are now going to be in a different conference. They're not going to be in the same conference with Scotland County. They're going to be in the same conference with Richmond, Hope County, Pinecrest, Lumberton, and then Purnell Sweat. And so for the first time in probably 8 years, we're going to have split conferences where teams in the county are in different conferences.
Yeah, and this is really the thing that made this go. I mean, this could have been a really bumpy realignment had not early on they came to this compromise. The Southeastern has for years been looking to increase its numbers to give them a more workable situation as far as being able to schedule. And geographically speaking, the logical two teams to add to it are 71st and Jack Britt because of their location in the western part of Cumberland County. It would decrease the amount of travel time between them and the majority of the Southeastern Conference schools. Some people are pointing to this as a potential, football super conference because of obviously the Southeastern has a tremendous reputation on its own. Between them, 71st and Jack Britt both have outstanding reputations as well. So it's going to be a real juggernaut of a football conference. But you have to again realize that we are talking about the whole sports program. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Cumberland County schools are going to be able to match up sport for sport when they go over to the Southeastern next year.
Yeah, I talked to Brian Renf a couple of weeks ago, and he said he's already talking with his administration. They've got a new principal over there in Scott Pope, a new athletic director in Michael Lindsay, who's coming back to the school where he was an assistant principal for a while. And he's already lobbying for some changes and some upgrades and some increased budgets in order to be able to meet what they're doing. You know, Richard Bailey left Jack Britt. He goes down to Scotland County, and it's like he fell into a whole kingdom down there where he's the only school he gets the bigger pool. And do you foresee the county allowing them to make some changes in order to compete with what we'll call the county schools? When you got a county behind your name, they're the only school in the county, whereas Jack Britt and 71st kind of have to divvy up their kingdom, if you will.
Well, I'm not sure how that's going to work out because obviously the culture in the Southeastern is a little bit different. They do tend to, I think, cut football some corners that they don't do for some of the other sports. At the same time, I think Cumberland County respects the total athletic program, and I don't think you're going to see them, giving a whole lot of the farm away there to take a lot away from some of the other sports. So I think we're just going to have to continue to allow our schools to, try to compete as best they possibly can under the current system that we have. And if they have to make some minor modifications, that's possible, but we'll just take it from there and I guess see where it goes.
Earl, I think he has his headset off and didn't hear your closing comments. He was trying to
I did not,
intercept
guys. I apologize.
Bailey.
I was getting a quick word from Richard Bailey on what they're being told here so I could give the fans an update. But, Earl, could you repeat that for me again one more time?
No, I just don't think that they're going to give away, make any sacrifices to the total sports program in an effort just to help out football because I think the county has made a commitment here to all sports, to being equal across the board. And I think that our football schools have outstanding facilities and are getting just about everything that they need right now, to be able to compete. So we'll have to see how that goes. But right now, I don't see them making any major changes for that.
All right, as I just talked to Richard Bailey as he was making his way back across the field as the Fighting Scots have come back out. Guys, they're saying it's still about 5 minutes before they can let everybody back out. And then once from there, they're going to give them about a 10 or a 15-minute warm-up. If you go back to where we were an hour ago now, we did get the national anthem in, but we have not had a coin toss, so we're probably looking somewhere about 8 o'clock before we get a kickoff on this game, so we'll be behind an hour, and I'm not sure how that puts us with the Mid-South Sports scoreboard and Donnie D's. Donnie, you may need to send out for some takeout because it looks like it's going to be a little while. while we're at a break here, while we're waiting everybody to come back in, let's go ahead and take a break ourselves. Renee, I'm going to kick it back to you. Let's hear some words from our great sponsors who are back with us for our 26th season here as the Mid-South Sports Network, and we're looking to kick this 2016 season off here at Southview High School as the Tigers are hosting the Fighting Scots of Scotland County. But you're listening to the best in high school sports on the Mid-South Sports Network.
Just roll the dice. Hi, I'm Matt Richardson. Growing up on the football field in Cumberland County, I learned 3 values: hard work, preparation, and teamwork. I try to apply each of those values at my job at the Richardson Law Firm. We'll work hard, handle each and every one of your legal needs. We'll put your interests first.
The Richardson Firm, 4200 Morganton Road, Fayetteville, 910-488-5050, or therichardsonfirm.com. Free initial consultation with an attorney.
In the nation, we know how it feels when a company doesn't treat you like a priority. You feel small. Or worst of all, like you're just a voice.
About 15, 16, 17-year-olds, how do you keep them level-headed and focused on what it is and to not let them get too high or too low?
Well, this kind of stuff doesn't help. You know, you were kind of routine people, and all of a sudden you have this. So we'll try to get them back jacked up and get them motivated, and we'll go from there.
All right, I think Chad is telling us high five, double time. Hey, Coach, thank you very much. We look forward to talking to Richard Bailey a little bit later. But, guys, we're being told 10-minute warm-up as the Tigers come back down onto the field now. The Tigers are in all orange tonight. They've got their orange jerseys, orange pants, black socks, white numerals trimmed in black. Hopefully you guys will be able to see them in the booth tonight. And then Scotland County is in there all white. So they got white pants trimmed in blue, white jerseys, blue numbers with the blue headgear. So they are going to go through a 10-minute. So you just put 10 minutes on the clock. So we are close to being able to get this game underway as we've got a little bit of rain falling. Still some ominous clouds over there to the north and to the east. So hopefully those are going to hang around and just continue to go to the other side of us. But Steve, we'll go back in and because we do still have a coin toss to do, so we're going to allow them to get their warm-ups done. But we talk about the keys to the game, those BMW keys to the game. As you look at Southview, young squad, second-year head coach, what do the Southview Tigers have to do to upset the heavily favored Fighting Scots tonight?
Well, I think they've got to settle in quick. Get their game plan going, run their offense, play smart on defense. Don't let, White get outside and break the long run. Keep the game close. If they score, come back and score too. I think just fundamentals, playing it as smart as they possibly can, and not getting overly excited in this first quarter, because they can easily lose this game in the first quarter.
Which part of the Southview team has got the most on them tonight? Is it the offense, who struggled to score points last season, or is it the defense, knowing that they've got Zamir White, one of the top running backs in the country, across the backfield?
Well, Bill, I think you answered, with your comments there, you answered your own question, because defensively, normally at this stage of the season, first game, second game, the defense is going to be ahead of the offense. So I would think for Southview, their defense is going to step up. They're going to be a little tougher than their offense. But, the offensive side of the football, the great thing for Southview really is having Keonis Hopkins coming back. I mean, he was here last year, yes, but he was nursing an injury all year long. Only picked up about 700 yards, which is roughly half of what he picked up his sophomore year. So he really didn't have the best of year, but it wasn't necessarily his game. It was that Southview was passing and passing and passing. They didn't hand the ball off to Hopkins very much, and so Hopkins' numbers suffered. I do believe if they want Donovan Brewington, the quarterback, to be successful throwing the football, they're going to have to hand the ball off to Keonis Hopkins more, spread the defense, and make Scotland play the run and the pass.
All right, as we continue on this, hour and a half edition of the Harold's Automotive pregame show. Charlie Harrell, we're going to be bringing our vehicles down for some service. But, Renee, I am going to kick it back to you one last time. Let's get one more break in before we get the coin toss. We're at about 6 minutes and 45 seconds. So by the time we get a couple of commercials in, we'll be back. We'll get the coin toss and the kickoff. So, Renee, it's coming to you. You're listening to the best in high school sports on the Mid-South Sports Network. Oh, excuse me, sir.